Good evening, everyone, and really looking forward to an interaction today on this topic, which I have spoken about a few times in the past. But I continue to speak about it because I realize the need for it, which is basically how to restart after having taken a career break, or if you want to call it a gap, or whatever you want to, a pause, right? And it is something that anyone can take, a man, woman, anyone, but we've usually seen women take career breaks more than men. And we know the reasons for the same. And it is always, I don't want to use the word struggle, but a little bit of a challenge to overcome the mindset that I had taken a break for themselves as well for the rest of the people, and then to go ahead, look for that dream job and restart. So I'm going to talk about some of those aspects which will help someone who's taken a career break to restart their career today. It's going to be very interactive, so please keep your questions, your observations coming in. I will keep looking at the chat to see if there is something that I need to address as I am talking. Otherwise, we'll definitely take all the questions at the end of my talk. And thank you so much, Reshma, for having invited me to this wonderful platform called Mums and Stories. Really looking forward to this interaction. So, even before we go on to the topic, which is how to restart after taking a career break, I really want to tell you one thing which you must stick it into your head if you've not already done. The first and foremost thing that happens when someone takes a career break is, and whether it is a voluntary break or it is involuntary. Voluntary is, when you really planned for it and you've taken it. You were okay with taking the break. Or involuntary is when there were circumstances and situations which made you, take a break, or despite you not wanting to have done that, is that do not regret it. There's no point in regretting anything that happens in our lives, not only the career break, because it happened for a reason. You were in a situation, the circumstances were such that you decided to take a career break. So stop regretting the fact that you had to take a career break. Move on from there. Because unless the mindset is such that it's okay, I had to take a career break and now let's look at what next for me, it becomes that much more difficult for you to move on. So first and foremost is do not ever regret anything in life. And in this case, the career break that you have taken. Okay? And hence, do not be ashamed of it. Do not feel that you have lost out something because of it. Wherever you are, whenever it is, be it in your CV, be it in your elevator pitch, in any kind of an interaction, wear it with pride. You took a career break, just like there are so many other life events that one goes through, and it's perfectly fine. Be happy about it and be confidently answering those questions that come your way, which ask you around the career break and hence why should you be considered for that opportunity, because that's what we are looking at and talking about today. That mindset is absolutely important, and hence I wanted to start with that. The next thing that I want to talk about is things that are needed or things that one should do when one is not on a break, even before they get onto a break. That is when you are on a job, and then when you decide or you're contemplating the break, as well as when you're on your career break. Again, while today's discussion is about how to restart after the career break, I do want to spend some time on this because this is very, very important. Of course, for those of you already on a break and are contemplating restart, you might feel that, okay, you didn't do any of this. Doesn't matter. It's never too late. But I know today is going to be a diverse audience. There might be people who are currently in jobs and they might have come in because they are contemplating a career break, or they just want to be, forewarned and, informed about what to do when they take a career break and what are the ways to restart. There are three things that are extremely important for us to keep in mind even before you go on a break or when you're on a break. The first and foremost is ensure that you have your own money. Okay, It is extremely important for us to be financially independent. Does not matter if your spouse, if your parents, or anybody else is providing you for the money that you need when you're on a break. But the amount of confidence that one gets when they have their own money is extremely different to when they are taking the money from somebody else. So it is extremely important for you to save the money for a day when you will go on a career break and when you are looking for that job and the job is taking a while to come. Because the way you approach that job search, when you're still having some money with you and you can fend for yourself, is extremely different to how you would approach the job search when you are actually taking some help, financial help from somebody else, even if it is your spouse, even if it is your parents. So ensure that you save money when you are earning and save quite a bit of it, because one doesn't know when you need and how much of it you need, or for how long you will have to eat out of those savings. So that's extremely important. Money is something that you must keep in mind. Okay, the second thing that you must keep in mind is be in touch with learning. It was in the past when we thought that we did a college education and then it was the end of studying and then you get onto a job and that's it. Today it is extremely different. You have to learn every day of your life. You might be in a job, you might have a great career, you might be on a career break, you want to restart, or you just don't even want to get into a job, you're happy as a homemaker. But still, learning is absolutely important. Every day of your life, you must learn. And when I say every day of your life, you must learn, just like I said, you must earn and you must save. I don't mean you have to get into a course. Don't associate learning with signing up for a course and then at the end of the day giving an exam and getting certified. Learning is about reading up about what's happening in the current industry that you were in or you wish to be in. What is happening with the current economy of the country and the globe. It is absolutely important for you to know that. For example, if you had a technology career prior to taking a career break, then you must know what are the current trends in technology. I'm not asking you to become deep, and know every programming language or anything like that. But at least you must know the terminologies and some high level aspects of, given I had a tech background, I'm giving an example of tech here. So, you're talking about machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. What are these? At least to some level, you must know what is happening, right? There is a concept called as Industry 4.0. So what is that? And there is something known as a gig economy, which is, the buzzword today, which means that a lot of jobs that are coming our way are on gig, which means there's a lot of freelance work that is coming. And companies are opening up and doing more and more work or offering more and more work on gig rather than permanent employment. You have to be aware of these aspects. So learning is important. Doesn't mean, you're thinking that, okay, I've gone on a maternity break and I know that you've got 20. Of course, there is enough and more, the debate going on whether WhatsApp or not WhatsApp, but you will spend that time. Use that time to do a little bit of reading up. Do not go away from learning because it's absolutely important. And the third aspect before you get onto a break, when you're contemplating a break, when you are in a job, is of course, keep in touch with people. Keep in touch with the people that you're currently working with. Keep in touch with the people that you were working with in the past. It is absolutely important to network and keep those relationships alive and nurture those relationships. And we will talk a lot more about networking as we progress in this talk. But even if you don't find a need for keeping in touch with somebody, it is important. So ensure that there is some kind of a relationship that is maintained with people that you have come across so far, and keep it warm. You can't suddenly one fine day, the day you decide to restart your career, call up your boss with whom you worked 3 years ago and say hi, hello. He or she will know that you are looking for something and hence you have called and may or may not entertain your call. But you have kept that relationship alive It's going to be different, when you want to restart. So these are very, very important things. If you're already on a break and you already, are looking to restart, see how you can bring in these aspects in your life. But for those of you who've not yet gone on a break, and those who are on a break and not yet thinking of a restart, ensure that these three things are in your mind always. Money, ensure you have saved so that you are financially independent whenever there is a need. Two, learning that is always available today online. And three, keeping in touch with all the people that you have met till today, professionally and personally. Now let us look at what are the things that are needed to be done once you have decided to restart. Okay. First and foremost, prioritize. It is so, so very important to prioritize. And what should you prioritize? In the list of things that you must prioritize, one is, of course, family. Where does family come in your entire priority list? Is it priority one, or is it priority two, or priority three? Now, if somebody puts family at priority three, does not mean that they are good or bad. There's nothing about being good or bad. Family being one or family being five, priority number doesn't mean anything. It is your priority list, right? It is my priority list. Where do I want to put family in my list of priorities? And why is this important? This is important because this is what will enable you to take the required decisions to be able to restart. In your list of priorities, where are you putting a career or a job? And please make a difference between careers and jobs. Jobs are something which you want to do because you have a few hours available every day. You want to productively utilize your time, and that's it. Maybe make some money out of it. But a career is a long haul. And when you're thinking of a career, there is a lot more that is involved in that. And where is it in your list of priorities? Are you putting career or a job? Is it before family, after family? You must look at prioritizing learning. You must look at prioritizing money. You must look at prioritizing me time, because it is important. Where do you put me time? Where do you put home? Because all these days, because you were in a career break, probably you used to care for your home much more than possibly you will be able to when you restart your careers. So where in that list of priorities is home going to figure? And time that you spend on, say, social media, where on that list of priorities is that going to figure? Why is this important? This is important because once you have put down the list of priorities, it will help you decide what kind of a job or what kind of a career you wish to pursue. For example, if I say that learning is taking a higher priority for me than the money that I make, which means that I'm going to look at opportunities which will enable a lot of learning for me. Even if my salary is a little less, I'm okay with, choosing that particular job because this gives me immense learning. And I believe that, with this learning, over a period of time, I can really grow. It's okay. Somebody else may say, I have a need for money. Learning can go, to wherever, but money is the topmost in my list of priorities. So I'm going to look at a job which is going to pay me very high, which is perfectly fine. It is your priority list. So I have listed down 5 or 6 things for you. You have to list down whatever else makes sense for you and make that priority list. Only one thing at every priority number, because that will allow you to then decide what kinds of jobs should you pursue. Okay. For example, if home is going to continue to be priority 1 or 2 for you, then maybe, you're spending about 6 hours doing homework today. Homework, housework, which could be, your cooking, your cleaning and whatever else. Then if you're looking at getting into a full-time job, do you have 8 hours available beyond the 6 hours which you're going to, contribute to doing the work at home? That is something you have to think about. If you feel no, you will not be able to do the 8-hour job because there is still the 6 hours of work that you need to do for your house, then maybe you have to choose a 4-hour part-time job, right? So these are the things it will help you decide. So prioritization is very, very important. The second thing is preparation, which is all of us know, right? You have to prepare before you start looking for a job, whether it's a first job for a fresher, it is, you want to kind of jump jobs, you are in a job and you want to make a lateral move or, look at another company, or you want to kind of restart after career break. There is preparation. And if I were to ask you, all of you will say, yes, you have to prepare your CV and you have to prepare for the interview and all of that. But I will tell you a few other things that you need to prepare for. Okay. The first thing is preparation in the mind and in your own mind, that you are now ready to restart. It's a big thing. Don't undermine it. Okay. Because I have seen a lot of people who have given themselves a target. Most of them usually take a break, when they've had a baby. So those days it used to be 3 months of maternity leave. Maybe, they have accumulated a few more months. Now it is 6 months of maternity leave. Maybe you accumulated and you took a year off. So in your mind, you've thought when the day you celebrate the child's first birthday is the day when you have to restart, right? But it is not so easy. So there's a lot of preparation that you need to do in your mind to ensure that you are able to restart on that first birthday of the child or whenever you decide to. So prepare the mind to say that I am ready to restart. The second thing that you need to prepare is prepare the family. The family now needs to know that you are going to start working, and they need to understand what it means for them. They need to understand that you will not be available for them for X number of hours, especially so in today's scenario, because most of us are going to be working from home. So you're still going to be around, right, in the house. But you have to tell them that these hours, say 9 to 10, 9 to 12, or 9 to 6, or whatever it be, I'm going to be working, and hence I'm not available to you like I used to be available. And that's not an easy thing. Even for me, after 28 years of career, it has been so hard in this 1 year. So when I used to be in my IT corporate world, I used to go home, I used to leave by about 7:45 in the morning. I would come home by 8:30 in the night, and then continue to work after that also. So the household used to run. They wouldn't even, wait for me. They knew what to be done, how to be done, and everything. In this 1 year, when I have been at home, there's an expectation that because I'm at home, I must lay the table for lunch. Right? Even now at 5 o'clock, usually 5:15 is, tea time for us at home. But because I have to go live today at 5, I had to, prepone the chai to before 5, prepare that, give it, and then come back here. But what if I was outside? If I had a 9 to 6 job, somebody would have made that chai and drunk, right? So this is the preparation that you need to do to your family members, to tell them that I will not be available. Even if you see me around, this is my work time. You have to respect it. And before the family respects, you have to respect it for yourselves, to say this is my work time, and hence I will only concentrate on work and not, keep doing other things in the house. So that's a lot of preparation that needs to be done. The third preparation that you need to do is ensure that you have got a good support system. Invest in a good support system. So, for example, if you were the one who was, cooking all the 3 meals in a day, and that is something that you will not be able to do based on your priority list because you want a full-time job, and sometimes full-time jobs can go beyond 8 hours, then you may want to invest in, a cook. Or you may want to, bring in an additional maid to clean up the house. Or you may want to, bring in a caregiver if you had taken a career break to care for somebody in the family. Or if there is a small child, then, to kind of look after a nanny for the child. Or, if you want to send the child to a daycare and all of that. This support system has to be planned for and prepared. Prepare yourself and prepare that other person who was so far dependent on you, that going forward, this is how it is going to be. All of these things will not happen like clockwork precision on the day you start working. That is why I always tell people that 3 months or maybe even 6 months before you actually want to restart, you behave as if you're already in a job. So if it is a 4-hour job, then ensure that you carve out those 4 hours for yourselves. The 9 to 1 is available only for yourself, and you're behaving in the house as if you're already in the job. And hence, you see if that support system is working. If whatever, rules and regulations you have set, are they really viable? And if it's working well for you, it's working for the rest of the family. If not, then during the 6 months or 3 months in the preparation phase, you can actually bring in tweaks so that on the day you actually restart, things are going to work absolutely fine. Okay, so it is very, very important that you prepare for a good support system, even if it means you're investing some money in there. I know that you're not earning, and if you want to bring in, say, an additional help, a cook or whatever, maybe you have to shell out 5,000 rupees extra per month. And the people will ask you, you're sitting at home right now. No, you're not yet gone to work. So why should you bring in this person immediately? But it is an investment. Just like we go to school and college and we spend lakhs of rupees, because we know that this investment is going to pay us when we start working. Like that, the support system is also an investment for you to be able to get into your career peacefully and dedicate yourself and hence grow in your career. And so the money is so important. If you had your own money, you don't have to ask somebody else to help you out, in bringing in the support system. That discussion also is not required. You can say, okay, fine, I'm bringing in someone because I need some peace of mind already. So, I'm taking it out of my bank account and paying. So it's very, very important. The other thing that, of course, you need to, more so in today's context, because we work from home, is ensure that you have built a good work environment in your house, right? So there is a dedicated place where you work from. There's a corner, and there's not much noise. There's enough lighting. There is, your infrastructure, a laptop. You have an internet connection, a backup internet connection, phone, and whatever else, right? The infrastructure is there for you. Prepare for that. Of course, these are things which nobody talks about. They immediately will tell you that if you want to restart, prepare your CV, prepare, some of the skills are outdated, so go get into some courses. But I always narrate these top four: your own mindset, your family, the support system, the work environment, which plays such, because you're going to be sitting at this place like I'm sitting now, and going to work for 8 hours. So it better be comfortable for you, right? And it better have good lighting. It better have, good air circulation. It should not have, too much of a noise and things like that. So invest in all of this, prepare all of this. The fifth thing, of course, is to ensure that you know what relevant skills you need to develop and what are the current industry trends. Now, a question which gets asked, to me very often is, I'm not very sure whether I want to go back to what I was doing before my career break. So I was in this kind of an industry and I was doing this kind of a role. It's 3 years since I took a career break. I don't know whether I want to restart in the same domain, in the same industry, in the same role, or I want to change. Or I know that I don't want to go back to it, but I don't know how to change, where to change, or what to do, right? This is a question which comes very often. And this will be easily answered if you had continued to remain relevant by reading, by learning. Okay, so you have to know what are the current industry trends. Now, if you don't know, if for whatever reason you had not been, reading up and you're not aware, one good way to get to know what is selling like hotcakes today in the market is by opening up all the job opportunities that get posted on any particular job portal that you have put your CV on. Especially for women on a career break, there are certain job portals which are designated only for women on a career break, like Jobs for Her is an example, right? So what I advise the women is that the usual practice is we will go and put our CV on these job portals and we'll put some kind of a notification reminder saying that if XYZ kind of a job gets posted, alert me. Because we don't even want to open up that portal on a daily basis and see what kind of jobs have come. So just alert me. The minute the delivery manager role comes, alert me. But I will suggest that open up, say for example on Jobs for Her, there might be 10, 15 or maybe 20 new positions that are being posted every day. Doesn't matter what the title of that role is. Open up that job description and read what job it is and what is the expectation of that job. What this will do to you is you will start understanding what current industry is looking like. What are the new kinds of roles that are coming up? And you will be able to reflect and see whether you have the required competencies for that particular role. Skills, I'm not even talking about. Skills is the last thing. You can always work on skills. But you need to have the relevant strengths and competencies like communication, stakeholder management, and all of that. Do you have that? When you read that particular job description, you will start wondering whether this is a kind of a job I would like to see myself in. Does it interest me? So do that for all the 20 new positions on day one. Day two, again, open up the new 20, 25 positions that have come up and do the same reading. Over a period of time, you will see a trend that looks like these kinds of jobs seem to be, high demand now. Maybe a digital marketing job is in high demand. Maybe content writing is in high demand, or something else is in high demand today. And you feel that you have a great, liking towards, say, a content writing kind of a job. You have the required competencies. You are a good writer. Your English is good, and you maybe have written a few blogs, and hence you feel that this is something that you could possibly pursue. And then at the end of that research, if you kind of narrowed down on 4 or 5 such roles, you now know what are the skills that you need to upgrade yourself on. Because there will be some skill positions. Even if you want to go in for content writing, there will be, maybe some kind of, writing skill that you have to probably do a course on and learn. Then you can go and sign up for that course just because you're very, very pointed and you know that this is why I'm doing this course. This is the kind of a job I'll apply to, and this is going to help me. Otherwise, you'll keep doing random courses and it's not really going to help you, and money also is going to be spent on that. And while doing this research, you may want to even apply to those 4 or 5 jobs which you found very interesting. So you will also see opportunities. Otherwise, if you've just put the alert over there and you're waiting for it to kind of signal to you, then you have lost out on those opportunities. The next thing that you must prepare is, of course, your CV. And you should have a standard CV, which talks about whatever you've done in the past and what you wish to kind of, do in the future. And another tip that I would give you is that always keep your CV updated. Doesn't matter, even if you're in a job and not looking to change your job, ensure that you have a current and updated CV. Also, an updated LinkedIn profile. And even if you're on a career break, ensure that you're not waiting for the day you want to restart and then update your CV. Look at your CV every 6 months to see if there is something you want to change in it, update in it. Because even during your career break, you would have acquired some skills. You might have done some small projects or initiatives. Even if some voluntary work that you have done, you should update it. Because if you've not updated your CV for 5 years, then to sit and think about what all you did in your first company and second company is going to be really, really hard. We are not going to remember that. And all those really chunky and the challenging things that you did and the way you went about getting those project outcomes would be forgotten. So keep it updated throughout. If you have not done it, of course, start it now. Both CV as well as your LinkedIn profile. And write your own CV. Because nobody else can write your CV better than you. Of course, there are professional CV writers, but I always recommend that you write your own CV because you know best what you did. Write it in a language that you are comfortable with, because at some point in time when you go for an interview, they're going to look at your CV and ask you your questions. So if somebody else has written it for you, then you will really wonder what it is, correct? So the first cut, second cut of the CV should be done by you. After which, for some professional touches, you can always go to, a professional CV writer and say, okay, fine, now better this. So he or she will probably, put a few frills and fancies. But the core masala in that has to be yours. There are enough and more YouTube tutorials out there in terms of how to do your CV. And there are enough and more, websites giving you templates. So do it yourself. Similarly, your elevator pitch. Similarly, your LinkedIn profile. But another tip for the CV is that while you have a standard CV, when you start applying, like I told you, there are 5 different kinds of jobs that you wish to apply for. You have to tailor your CV before you send it out to that job. Because the job description is going to ask you for a few things. You just can't send your standard CV just like that. You have to read your standard CV and see, okay, fine. Are you highlighting those aspects which are required in that particular job? The job description is asking for it. For example, in a particular job, the focus might be on interpersonal skills, communication skills, stakeholder management skills. You can't cook up a new story in your CV. It's the same project that you had done. But are you bringing out those aspects where you're showcasing your stakeholder management skills? For the second job, maybe it's your problem solving skills which are what are required. So same CV, same project, same story. Are you bringing out your problem solving skills in that? So the CV has to match the job description. That is extremely important. So similarly, your elevator pitch. If you know exactly who you're going to meet or what kind of people you're going to meet at an event where you're going to deliver your elevator pitch, your 30-second or 60-second introduction, you must tailor it for that. So there is a lot of preparation in that is required. Okay. One favorite topic of mine, which everyone asks me about, is networking. And I say that it is absolutely important to develop a network. And what I say about networks are that you cannot dig a well when you are thirsty. So on the day you want to restart your career break, you cannot have a network. Everything else you could probably work around, right? You can, start learning today, you can start studying today, you can probably even make quick money, maybe, invest something in the share market, maybe you'll make some money instead of losing some. But a network has to be developed over a period of time, so you have to always be doing so, meeting people, getting to know people whom you had never met before. Now, let me give an example of Reshma and I. How did I meet and when did I meet? Okay, so in 2017, which is that's the year when I quit from my corporate job. But before I quit, I had taken a 6 week, break because my mom had undergone a surgery and I was caring for her. Her surgery happened on 20th June. Okay. And I used to connect with people on LinkedIn, and I still do that. People who I find very interesting, they're doing interesting kinds of things. I just connect with them on LinkedIn. And I had connected with Reshma like that, I think. So I went back today to look at the message with Reshma on LinkedIn, and I have sent the message on 23rd June 2017. So 20th my mother got operated, and 23rd I've sent this message to Reshma, and I'll read it out for you. Hi Reshma, thanks for connecting with me. I happened to come across Moms and Stories and was interested to understand how this initiative works. I also see from your LinkedIn profile that you have had an interesting work journey in the last few years. It would be great to catch up with you. Do let me know if you can spare some time in the first week of July. This is what I had written to Reshma. Okay. And the reason I'm talking about the dates is I did not waste any time. 20th surgery over, I must have brought my mom back, from the hospital in the 2-3 days. And on that day, I have written a message to her. I've given myself a week to kind of settle my mom in and, go and meet her. And we met her, we both of us met at a cafe, Koshi's, and we didn't know each other. But the idea for me was to kind of get to know how she had transitioned from, her job, whatever she was doing, to start a platform like this. Because in my head, though it was a 6 week leave, somewhere I had a feeling that maybe I'm going to quit the job. And then I didn't want to go back to a corporate job. So I thought, let me learn from her in terms of, what it entails to start something of your own. And if there was anything I could contribute to Moms and Stories. Great conversation, an hour we spent with each other, and the realization that I don't think she can offer me anything because it's a platform. And I said, okay, I will keep this in mind and see if there is something that I can do for the platform. But remember the rule of networking is not about what that other person is going to do for you. Networking is what you can do for that other person. Only then that relationship blossoms. So I came back, and then I always remembered this platform, and there were a couple of startups that I came across who were working in the space of young students. So I thought maybe it's a good idea for them to showcase it through Moms and Stories. So I just put them across to Reshma and said, okay, if there is some collaboration you can do, go ahead. And I kept in touch with Reshma. If I saw a nice story featured, I would congratulate her, and all of that. We kept in touch. 2017 June I'm talking about. And in 2021, January, I have this opportunity to talk to you all via this platform. Let me give you another quick example of networking. So when I was in Capgemini from 2016, I got associated with this portal called as Jobs for Her. I was an ambassador for them because I realized that this cause is something that I really want to do something about. Women on a career break and they wanting to restart their careers. So I went on as an ambassador at Jobs for Her. I became a mentor on that portal. And again, during this 6 week leave that I told you, I actually went and volunteered, with them. And after I quit my job in September 2017. So, the 6 weeks of leave actually extended to 3 months because of a lot of things that happened in my personal life. And then I quit my job. And Neha Bagaria, the founder of Jobs for Her, actually spoke to me saying that she is going to start a not-for-profit foundation, and will I head that? That job was never advertised. Okay. Now, how did that come my way? That's because since 2016, I had developed a relationship with her, with this platform, and I was doing things that I felt I could be of use. And that's how eventually that opportunity came my way. So very, very important for you to network. And of course, develop a personal brand. Now, these are topics by itself, and it will take me an hour to tell you how to develop all of this. But quickly, it is important for you to have an online brand presence. And today it is very easy. You can be on LinkedIn, you can be on other social media, you can have a blog of your own, a YouTube channel of your own, or, ensure that you have engagements like this wherever possible, and develop a personal brand. Finally, things that are needed to be done to restart. Don't shy away from volunteering. I'm not one of those who's saying that, take whatever job comes your way at whatever salary. No, you must negotiate your worth and you must get that salary. But also remember that if you're just going to keep waiting for that job at that salary to come by, you may just spend a year, 2 years with nothing coming your way. But use that time to volunteer, like I did, right? I volunteered at a startup, I volunteered jobs for her, I volunteered in so many places, when I actually took that 3 month before I quit my job. Pick up internship opportunities. Look at gig assignments, which are freelance projects that you can do. Okay. And in terms of salary, again, I will give you this as a story. When I quit I was a director at Capgemini and then I quit. And when I wanted to kind of consult, I was thinking of consulting after that. There was a startup where I had volunteered. They said, would you come and consult with us? And their only big problem was they didn't know how to pay me, right? Because I had such a probably high salary, heavy salary that came from the corporate world. And all I told them was, don't pay the Neeraja Ganesh, pay for that role. So if you had hired somebody else as a consultant for that role, what would you have paid that person? Give me the same. And of course, they offered me the same, which was very, very, very less from what I was earning. But I took it up only because I was thinking if I was starting up on my own, then, there is a lot of investment of money that I will make in that. And two, for it to really become good and viable, bring in revenues, profits, and then for me to start, taking my salary, it may be a good 2 years away. At least I'm getting paid something here and I'm going to learn so much out of it. So I picked it up. And that helped me negotiate my next second consulting assignment, in terms of the fees. So negotiate your salaries that way. And while don't, just because you have taken a career break, if somebody is trying to, give you a minuscule salary, you should say no to it. But look at what is the experience that you have versus the experience that somebody else who's been in a job is having, and how much of time will it take for you to hit the ground running once you join that organization. Also evaluate that, and with that, if you need to take a hit on the salary, I would say go for it, but prove your worth once you are in the job and get back to the position, both the grade wise and salary wise, to what you should ideally have been in. Finally, just like I said, when you have taken a career break, in my starting of the today's talk was, be confident, don't regret it. Similarly, once you're in the job, keep your confidence. You are no longer someone who was on a career break. You are back in a job just like everybody else is. So forget the fact that you were on a career break and do whatever is required to ensure that you are able to scale your career. Do not play the woman card, that I'm a woman, hence I will need the flexibility. I have a child at home and hence I'll need the flexibility, etc. Because you've consciously made the choice to restart your career. And hence, if you have planned and prepared everything else at home should be taken care of. And unless and until there is a dire need for you to request for some additional flexibility, do not. Because if you want to grow your career just like every other man and woman in the company is, then you have to do everything that is required to be done. And once you've proven your worth, when there is a need for you to, request for that flexibility or whatever else, you can definitely ask for it and you will be given. But that should not be your going in position. So forget the fact that you were on a career break the minute you join, and, just behave how you would otherwise when you are in a job. Those are my last words. And let me see if there are any questions on the chat box. Everyone's saying very informative session. I have not got any questions yet. So please do ask me if there is anything that I have not already addressed, because these are some of the things which I have come across in all my experiences of, chats with women who have taken a career break. Same things repeat. So I thought, I will try and cover the most asked questions, through my talk. Very helpful discussion regarding updating of CV, networking, and other criteria to be considered before taking up a job. All valuable points, and the speaker's diction is excellent. Thank you so much, Ramya. This bit about going into the job, once you are gotten into the job, forgetting the fact that you were on a career break is extremely hard. And I always give this example, right? So my daughter, who's 19, going to be 19 on Monday, was a premature baby. She was premature by 8 weeks. Okay, so she was in the incubator for 4 weeks. After that, we brought her out and in the room, and it was the month of March, right? So March in Bangalore is hot. Despite that, we had to keep a heater in the room so that she kind of has the feeling that she's still in the incubator. And of course, had to be really, really careful about how we handled her and all of that. So that always played on my mind. And whenever I went to a doctor for anything, a dentist or whatever, as she grew up, I would always, my first thing was, my daughter is a premature baby. And then, come to that, whatever problem you've gone to attend. And there was one doctor who told me, Neeraja, she was premature, and the fact that she was premature is done with. The first 6 months is the only first 6 months when she was premature. After that, she's become normal. So just get it out of your head that she's a premature baby and just, behave like a normal mom of a normal baby. And I would like to give that example to all of us who've taken a career break, and after all the hardships and preparations and prioritization and then attending the interview, we get into the job. If we do not forget the aspect that, oh, we were on 3 years career break and hence everything is different for us, people are going to watch us differently, or I need some additional support because I was in a career break, things are not going to go well. So forget that aspect that you were on a career break the minute you hit your job and inside the job, and do whatever is required like any other person. Top mistakes to avoid on a career break. So, of course, as I said, please ensure you continue learning. And that's why I gave the example of, even when you are on a maternity leave, even with the baby in your hands, take out that 15 minutes to read about what's happening in the current world. Okay, so that you do not lose touch with it. And do not lose touch with people that you have come across professionally, personally, and build new connections. How do you build new connections? Whenever you attend an event today, of course it's online, but even this online event, you can of course build new connections. I know there is Ramya Kiran, there is Merlene Bernard and Linda Johnson who have been listening to me. The next thing that I'm going to do is find them on Facebook, find them on LinkedIn, and I will connect with them, and I will ensure that I keep that relationship going. So very, very important. That is what happens with people generally also. Unless and until there is a need, they will not want to go and talk to someone, and that's the worst part of it. When there is no need is when you should be talking to the people, because then you are not in a desperate situation. You will not come to the point. Then you will be able to build a very nice relationship, trying to understand who the other person is and how you can help the other person. I think these two are the top mistakes that someone should avoid when they are on a career break. How to handle emotional behavior during this period? Each day gets so challenging. So Linda, which is true, and during, I think for all of us, there at different points in time in life, we are kind of disturbed emotionally, and building that resilience is very, very important. So being emotionally resilient is extremely important. And how do you do that? Of course, there are a few things that people do. They may, take to, say, mindfulness, yoga, spirituality, and all of that. Whatever works, that's something that really helps calm you down. But beyond that, my small tip is take small steps. What did I say? In that 6 weeks, when my mother had undergone a surgery, I could have just chilled out at home here. I mean, I had not yet quit the job. I could have chilled out, taken care of my mother, and binge watched whatever on TV. But I didn't do that. I took the small step. Every day, 2 hours, I would step out of the house and I would go volunteer somewhere, and I would meet somebody like Reshma and all of that, just to get ideas and just to see, how things are, and also, continue to build that relationship. My 6 weeks of leave actually became 3 months, because when my mother recovered, my husband fell extremely ill and I had to, extend my leave. When my husband recovered, my father-in-law fell ill. So I extended my leave. My father-in-law then passed away. So then we had the 2 weeks of, all the rituals. So I extended. So that 6 weeks of leave became 3 months. And then I quit, because I knew that I did not want to be in this kind of a job which had so much of travel and all of that. Because after having gone through so much, I really wanted to be in Bangalore. And such an opportunity was not coming my way in the office. So I quit. But what happened was, because I had taken those, small steps of going out and meeting people from day one, after 3 months, it became part of my life to go continue meeting with people. And in those 3 months, since I had done the volunteering at a couple of places, opportunities just came my way. The startup told me that I could come and consult, and the jobs for her, offered me an opportunity and all of that. So the way to continue to be resilient is to ensure you take those small actions. Don't sit, feeling depressed and not do anything. Do something. Even if it is moving by a centimeter, it's good progress. And that's what I would like to tell you. After failure in a couple of interviews, the confidence just go down so badly. So this is what I would like to say, like everyone has said, don't let a bad crisis go away, right? That's the famous quote, I think, used in 2020. And failing in an interview, I don't even call it as failure, is not a crisis at all. It is learning. So reflect on what happened. Sometimes organizations do give you feedback in terms of why you were not selected, but even otherwise, you kind of come back and reflect on what is it that you were not prepared with. Maybe there were a couple of questions which you didn't know how to answer. Maybe there was something that you had not gone prepared with. So I always give it as learning. If something didn't go right, you've just learned about how not to do that. So confidence is a measure of asking this question: what's the worst that can happen? Whenever you ask the question, what's in it for me, is when you kind of say, okay, I would have gotten that job if I had done it better. And that makes you feel really bad. But if you ask the question, what's the worst that can happen? Well, you didn't get the job, right? Does it mean that, you are worse off than where you are? Of course not. You are not in a job today. You went for an interview and you still remain without a job. So you're not worse off than, what you are today. So that means you can continue. You can always, go for an interview tomorrow and you'll only do it better. So that question in any situation, what's the worst that can happen? If the answer to that is something that you can, of course, cope with and deal with, move ahead with confidence. It will definitely not dip your confidence. Not playing the woman card is a bit difficult, Ramya. Though I wouldn't endorse or support that, women may need to be given some consideration regarding leaving a little early from work without really compromising work quality. Let me know if you agree with this. I have on occasions requested some flexibility while picking up my kids, etc. So Ramya, of course, these are things that you can speak about. If there is a need that the office hours are 9 to 6 and you have to go and pick up your child because there is nobody else to kind of help pick up the child at 4 o'clock, you can make that known. I'm not saying no to it, of course. But you have to ensure that you make up on that lost time. So that is something that you have to be able to speak with the organization and don't say blanket flexibility. Right? You have to say that, okay, fine, the situation is such that for the next 6 months till I'm able to, find other ways to pick up my kids, or, I put them on a bus or something like that because they are just too young, or it's the middle of an academic year and hence you may not get transport. And I'm talking about all of this when, our world was pre-COVID, and hopefully we'll come back to that at some point in time. You can tell the reason why is it that you're not able to make other arrangements, and not because you're a mother. I will give you the story, okay? When I was at ANZ, I had a team. So I had 6 team leaders under me. 5 of them were men and there was 1 woman, okay? And on the first day of school, I used to go to school to, because you want to, see your child. And I'm talking about nursery, maybe KG till first standard. So on the first day of school, I would go with my daughter to school to put her in school. But all the other 5 male managers under me, they would ask for leave because they wanted to go and put their, child in school on that day. And I would go home and tell my husband, look at that, all the dads are doing, you are not doing, I am doing it. So there is, no stereotype to say that a woman has to do, so you can always tell that, this is a reason. Don't say, I have kids and hence. The reason is everybody has kids. There are so many other mothers, who have kids, but they don't go to pick them up, right? So what is the reason because of which you have to pick up the kids and you cannot make another arrangement for that? Because of which, and for what period of time? Is it lifelong or is it 6 months that you have to go, and hence you need that flexibility? And how is it that you're going to compensate for that? Will you compensate as soon as you come home at 4:30? Or are you going to compensate from 6 o'clock onwards? Ensure that these things are clarified. Yes, Chetna, it is an opportunity lost. Doesn't matter. It is also a learning. Okay, you can't keep thinking about what you lost. You have to only keep thinking of, what is it that you gained from it. There was a reason because of which you were not able to, get through that interview. But if you're going to sulk, the next interview is going to be even worse. But if you're going to reflect and say, okay, fine, very, very methodically, you kind of meticulously write down the things that worked for you, the things that did not work for you, and prepare for those, anticipate that and a bit more for the next interview, the chances of you landing the job at the next interview are higher. It needs a lot of training of the mind. I know it's not as easy as I say it, but it can be done. I have done it, many others have done it, so I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Reshma, if you can share your email address, if possible, it would be great. And you can also answer questions later. Thanks for an interesting discussion. Thank you so much, Reshma. I'm available on LinkedIn. So let me just, put my LinkedIn here, because I really want everyone to get onto LinkedIn if they are not already, because that is a network that you have to build. You have to put your profile there, as well as ensure that you build your personal brand using that as one of the platforms. So I would love for all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn, and of course, we can converse from there. The other platform that you can find me is the Jobs for Her. I'm a mentor on Jobs for Her, so you can also follow me on that platform, and you will get to know about other events that I'm speaking at, workshops that I'm doing, and things like that. So I'm just going to give you the link of Jobs for Her where you can follow me. Okay. Anything else which I'm yet to answer? Okay. So are we good? Can I say bye-bye and wish all the moms here and all the other women and maybe men who are listening in the very best in all their endeavors. And hopefully you're able to take a couple of these tips and implement it. And I would love to hear from you in terms of the success that you have seen implementing these tips. Thank you for the time spent with me today. Have a great rest of the day. How to find a volunteer job? I will take this as the last question. So one is, if you go to a portal like Jobs for Her, there is a section where they put out, this particular job is voluntary. They put out full-time jobs, part-time jobs, freelance jobs, projects, and things like that. There is also a section for volunteer jobs. Secondly, in the startup world, for sure, they have a lot of opportunities for voluntary positions, and you can Google for any of the startups. Your Story, if you have not come across the online publication called yourstory.com, go there and continue to read yourstory.com. They publish a lot about the startups which are coming up. Go to these websites of the startups, and you can see in that list of positions, there will be certain positions which are voluntary, and apply for that. And there you go. Thanks, Reshma. Thanks, Moms and Stories. And thanks, audience. And I'll see you around some other day.